Hello crafters, welcome to Creative Home with G and this week's Christmas in July video. So each week in July I will do a Christmas themed video, so this is the second one. I'm going to be doing a 5x7 watercolour card with you. So my card base is a craft coloured cast-out card base in 5x7. Then I have a red insert, let me give you the measurements. That measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. My green insert is 4.5 by 6.5, and I have some watercolor cardstock, and that measures 4 by 6. So I'm going to be doing a watercolor wreath card with you. I want to say watercolor. I know Angie from AB Designs that I will tell you. I'll leave a link for Angie's YouTube channel below. If you're a fan of watercolor, you really must head over and watch her videos. She is outstanding. So please head over and check out Angie, and she's very down to earth. You know, there's dogs barking in the background. There's no airs and graces with her, and I love that. She's lovely. I'm going to be using Holly in Hills, the Merry Christmas sentiment in Holly in Hills, and that's a Meme Made It stamp set. I'll leave Meme store link below. I am going to use a pencil and my, what is this, 2.5 inches die, or is it 2 inches? Let's have a look. 2 3/4 inch circle die, and I'm just going to draw around this to give me a frame, if you will, to do the wreath in. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try, you know, just get yourself a circle. You can use the base of a glass. You could use anything that's in your craft room, a candle holder, whatever you've got. I've got some watercolor pencils that I got from the works, and I'm just going to use the brown. I've got my paint palette here with some water in the center, as you can see, and I've got my green Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, which is a holly leaf, and I've got the red berry. I've also got some watercolor paint brushes and the Nouveau Safari green, and I'm going to use my mini Misty. So much information. Right, I'm going to use my watercolor pencil and I'm going to dip it in the water, and I'm just going to create the base of the wreath. Now most of this is going to be covered over, so this really doesn't need to be neat, and in reality you don't really need to do it, but I think if for some reason you was to see you know, some of the wreath or the pencil underneath, I think it better have it with brown rather than the grey from the traditional pencil. And I'm going to, you know, come out a bit and give it some twigs and some movement, that type of thing. And I'm going to be using these, that if any of them show through, and I'll add some more later, as pine cones. But anyway, there you go. That's the basis of the wreath form. I'm making sure I'm in camera. I'm hoping this new, I have a new light, a circle light. So I'm hoping the visuals are better. So let's crack on. Right, I'm going to do some leaves now, and I'm going to be using the straight on from the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, the green, the holly, and I'm just going to do V shapes all the way around the wreath. Different lengths, smaller ones, longer ones. They don't have to be universal in size or even universal in shape. And then going back to this diluted version here, I'm going to go in and put in some lighter green. Now I'm not going to speed this. Okay, go back in and put in some of the darker shades. And this can be really as fluid and as loose as you want it, or it can be as controlled as you want it. and let that just dry for a second. And as you can see, some of the brown is showing through, which is perfect. So going back in now, I'm going to just do some kind of back and forth zigzaggy kind of motion, and they are going to act as my pine cones. So it's almost like you are rubbing out a mistake. You know, you've done a wrong word and you need to rub it out. I'm not doing anything that's controlled. Let me show you on another piece of paper. I'm literally just doing this, and I'm making those act and look like pine cones, because this is a very organic form. If YouTube did a thing of smelly vision crafters, currently you would smell toast wafting up my nostrils. So I'm assuming that my mum has just made herself some toast. Okay, so let me just bring this up to show you. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the red, and that's the holly berry, and I'm going to add some berries into the mix. I've already put some of the ink from my pen into my my palette here, and again you can make these as organic, as perfectly placed as you want. I personally think the less organic it looks, the more realistic it looks, because obviously in nature things don't tend to be symmetrical and so forth. Some, don't get me wrong, some do. I'm not going to say everything. Oh, and I've inked my fingers, crafters. Can you see that? I've got ink in my fingers and it's gone onto my watercolour paper. So I've got a baby wipe here. I'm going to wash those away. That's one good thing about watercolour paper. It's a lot more forgiving than normal paper. Okay, so I'm just going to zap that now. Turning it over because I don't want the paper to be too warped. Okay, now you can definitely add some sparkle if you wanted to. Where you've got the red berries, instead of using these sparkle pens, you could use some gems, you could use some sequins, whatever you wanted to use. So let's put this card base together. Okay, let's bring over our mini Misty, and let's put in our card insert, and let me place the sentiment where I want it. Okay, and this is where I'm going to use the Nouveau hybrid ink, and this is the Safari Green. Now I contemplated using black, but I think I wanted to use the green, because I don't have any black in this card at all, so I didn't want to bring in another colour. But do whatever is your preference. Because this is watercolour paper, it takes a couple more stamps, because obviously the paper soaks it in. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's put that to one side. Let's put some foam tape on the back. Let's bring over our card base and let's pop this in place. Okay, so and there I do it again, crafters. It's not quite dry and I'm putting my fingers in it, but thankfully watercolour paper is very forgiving. Okay, so there's the one I just did with you on camera, and there's one I did as a prototype. So like I say, you're going to get different results every time. If you want more of the flicky look, just bring out your, just be more fluid with your motion, and you get the more wispy leaf look. There we go, really simple. And if you don't have the Nouveau, you could always use watercolour paints. This is on crooked. Let me see if I can rectify that. I bet I can't. Nope. Right, it is the way it is. It's a bit crooked, but never mind. But there we go, crafters. Your second video for Christmas in July. Thank you very much for joining me, and you'll see me again next week. Take care now. Bye bye.